Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, rally on the Pentecrest. See how the Iowa City community is responding to recent changes to DACA.
And later, we sat down with a UI professor who worked on the Space Voyager trip.
If you miss the launch date, well, in the case of Voyager, you would have 197 years until the planets get realigned in that position. So this is a truly one in a lifetime opportunity.
We take a look at the Cy-Hawk matchup tomorrow.
You're also going to hear our predictions for tomorrow's game.
We'll be seeing the start of some fall temperatures this weekend. Find out more in weather.
We've got all that and more coming up.
Daily Iowan TV starts now. Good morning and thanks for joining us. I'm Becca Scadden.
And I'm Cole Johnson. Yesterday, the people of Iowa City reacted to the rescindance of DACA. Hawkeyes for Dream planned a rally and hundreds of people flooded the University of Iowa Pentecrest. Take a look.
2 days since the Trump administration rescinded DACA, and yesterday the people of Iowa City gathered at the Pentecrest to express their concern.
The rally began with speakers reading letters from DACA recipients. Many of them were addressed anonymously out of fear of revealing their immigration status.
Parents told me the truth. I was brought here when I was young for an opportunity at a better future.
The rally was organized by the Hawkeyes for Dream campus group. The group works to provide rights and protections to undocumented Iowans. The rally was held to sign petitions to send to Senator Joni Ernst and Chuck Grassley, as well as allow people to speak their minds about the issue.
It's not about the differences or political ideology. It's about the human bonds that we have with each other.
Some people took the opportunity to talk about applying for school or finding a job before DACA. Others revealed that they were still undocumented.
I'm very scared of what's going to happen to me just by coming out, but I feel like a lot of people are having to come to the shadows.
The Johnson County Board of Supervisors presented a letter saying that it was time for the government to pass the DREAM Act as a permanent way to protect DACA recipients.
These young people came to the U.S. as children and became active, successful, contributing members of our community and nation. America is their only home.
The rescindance of DACA will not go into full effect for another 6 months.
And Tuesday, September 5th, marked the 40-year anniversary of Voyager's one launch to deep space. The space probe has traveled around 13 billion miles from Earth's atmosphere. In 2013, it became the first man-made spacecraft to leave our solar system. One instrument on the probe was built by UI Professor Donald Gurnett. He helped build a radio and plasma wave instrument, which played a central role in detecting light on Jupiter. His device detects whistlers, which is the low frequency generated by lightning. Before adding it to the Voyager 1 back in 1977, he tested the device out to see if it was successful.
But I believe either the second or third night I went out at night, I heard whistlers. And so I knew we had the sensitivity to detect whistlers. And I told Jim Van Allen that, and he said, okay, build it and put it on the spacecraft.
Looking back at what made him want to be involved with Voyager 1, he had this to say.
To look back, I just acted on my intuition. You know, there was an opportunity, well, I don't know about an opportunity, something interesting. I acted on my interests, I would say.
Despite outdated technology, Voyager 1 is still sending back information to this day. According to a NASA scientist, 2020 is when the probe will begin shutting down.
Our Department of Education Director Ryan Wise was named 2017 Policy Leader of the Year by the National Association of State Boards of Education. Wise was nominated for leading statewide initiatives. One initiative was about early literacy. This helped ensure Iowa students are proficient readers by the end of the 3rd grade. The award is given annually to a national or state policymaker for contributions made to education.
Hurricane Irma has already made its way through the Caribbean and is headed towards Florida.
Former Daily Iowan TV News Director Brianna Jett is currently working at a news station in Fort Myers where people are prepping for the storm.
So soon after Harvey, all those images were on everyone's brain, and water was running out on Monday. which is almost a full week before the storm's supposed to hit. So since then, every gas station that I drove by on the way home is out of gas. I've not seen any water in any stores. All of the families, for the most part, have all left, evacuated. Some flew out, some drove out. What normally takes like 8 hours to get out of Florida driving is now taking people 12 to 15 hours. People are just a little bit more scared this time around.
Thanks, Brianna. And Cole, I'm really hoping the damage down there isn't going to be too bad.
Yeah, hopefully not. But let's take a look at Iowa City weather. Lauren, what's it looking like outside?
Well, guys, we have seen some beautiful fall weather this week, and we can expect similar temperatures as we move into the weekend. This morning, we can expect a high of 79 degrees and a low of 55 degrees, with partly cloudy skies that will be continuing into the evening, where we can again expect a low of 55 degrees. Now let's take a look at our 5-day extended forecast. As we head into the weekend, we'll be seeing some fall temperatures. Tomorrow, we can expect partly cloudy skies, reaching a high of 77 degrees and a low of 55 degrees. By Sunday, those partly cloudy skies will disappear, allowing for clear, sunny skies with a high of 77 degrees. Those sunny skies will stick around Monday, bringing a high of 79 degrees, and Tuesday, we will see highs in the low 80s, followed by Wednesday bringing sunny skies and a high of 80 degrees. That's all I have for you in the weather studio today. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, guys. Well, happy Cy-Hawk Series week, and welcome into our Week 2 pregame show. Once again, I'm Mary-Kate Harry, and here with me is Zach Mackey. Well, Zach, we're on to Week 2 and Rivalry Week, if you can even call it that anymore. So my first question for you is it still a rivalry?
I think it is, because a lot of these guys are from the state. They've played with each other in high school football. They recruit the same guys. They see each other around the state. Their communities buy in. I think you still got yourself quite a rivalry here.
And you can tell just around campus, they're handing out Beat State shirts, and everyone just seems very upbeat, so I agree with you on that. So let's talk about last Saturday quick. What were you most impressed with?
I think it was very impressive, the defense. They didn't allow anybody to get into the end zone. That one field goal, but otherwise it was clean slate throughout. The defense looked really good, even with some guys bumped up in that secondary. And also Nate Stanley did well. Nick Easley obviously caught some huge passes. So there were a lot of bright spots, I think, for Coach Kurt Ferentz.
I agree with you. Noah Fan played very well as well. And Josh Jackson had a great game.
As well.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to my favorite topic, our quarterback.
Yeah,
so I haven't given Nate Stanley a lot of love lately, but I'm going to now. So Stanley got his first start this past weekend, and you know what? I think he held his own out there. I think once he calmed down, he really took command.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He took command. He's a young guy, like we said, and he was able to step up with 70,000 eyes on him looking down, and scored a couple of touchdowns, 3 in fact, and did a good job at leading that crew.
He's going into a pretty hostile environment this weekend. First away game. Do you think that's going to impact his play?
Well, I mean, yeah, like you said, it's your first time now. It's a whole bunch of firsts here early on, and your first time at a real hostile environment there in Iowa State, Jack Trice Stadium. It's going to be electric. There's going to be a lot of people yelling at him. So we'll see if he's able to step up to the call again.
It seems like once he, got things going, he calmed down a bit. So I'm hoping that's the same way for him. I hope he just keeps the nerves leave him week by week. But let's move on to wideouts now. Matt Vandenberg, he has had 16 receptions for 234 yards and 2 touchdowns in his last 2 meetings with the Cyclones. Do you think we can expect the same from him tomorrow?
Well, I don't think anyone's played better in 2 games than Matt Vandenberg has in those Cy-Hawk Series games. It's going to be hard to top last year where he had just a phenomenal performance. So, I mean, I think Matt Vandenberg's a gamer. He's a guy that shows up in big games and big situations. And, again, it's going to be a huge game there at Jack Trice Stadium, so expect him to have an impact.
His teammates and coaches are definitely agreeing with you, and they are really counting on him this weekend.
Matt Vandenberg, he's a great leader on the team. He's a captain. And every time, he always tuned in and he always lead by example and he's vocal. And he's been working hard along with everybody else. He's been teaching the wide receivers a lot of things. He even taught me a few things.
For sure, he's got a lot of experience in games like this. So I think his demeanor and his attitude that he has preparing for this game is something that I can learn from.
He's a good football player, and when he can go, he goes. And he's got one speed, and he's had that since he got here. He was really skinny when he got here, but he's growing into a adult football player now, and he's a good football player. We're better when he's out there playing for us.
All right, so let's move on to the Iowa defense now. Josie Jewell had a phenomenal day against Wyoming and got some honors this week as well. He had 4, but 2 of them, he was named to Walter Camp National and Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week. He had 14 tackles, which then combined with Bo Bauer's 11 tackles, Ben Neiman's 13 tackles, all made up for a total of 38 tackles just between the three of them. Does this just set the tone for what to expect from this linebacking core?
Well, no one played better throughout the entire country than Josie Jewell. I mean, he was electric all over the field, making some really big plays. But that linebacking crew, like you said, totaled for 38 tackles. I mean, if that crew keeps doing that throughout this season, it's going to be a really special year because, again, it all starts up front. That defensive line, those guys were giving a lot of credit to their front line, but they were running around making plays, and it looked like that defense was having fun. Who's going to have a tall task with a team that put up 40 points against UNI? Iowa State's been able to score.
And I was really impressed with what they did against Wyoming's offense as well. So I was not expecting that, especially secondary. They played great, and we get Manny back this week.
That's right.
So that's going to be a great addition. But now on Tuesday, a lot of the guys talked about, what this game really means to them, especially the Iowa players.
Yeah, it definitely means a lot to them. Like we said, their communities are buying in. They're from this state. And it even's got to mean a lot to those guys who don't quite live here, who are out of state, because it's the next game on the schedule, and it's a chance to get the second win.
Well, let's take a look at what the guys think about this matchup.
Really just being part of a series like this one, it's such a big deal to everyone in the state. The hype around it and everything, it's really exciting. So
I mean, we grew up with this rivalry in state, but all those out-of-state guys, we've just kind of made sure they understand what it's about, what it means, and Coach France does a great job about explaining that to us. And
yeah, there was always that growing up. The state's kind of you got. It depends where you're at in the state, I guess you could say. Some people like a certain team, and some people don't. So I mean, it's always differentiating. You never know who's going to like who, and you've always seen that growing up.
Coach Ferentz always stresses this game. It's a big rivalry game, big trophy game. But we're just coming out and doing the same thing that we always do, preparing the same way, and just trying to come out and get better every day.
So we talked about this in the beginning. Is this really even a rivalry anymore? And to me, hearing from the players, it obviously still is. Some of these guys have grown up going to Cyhawk series or watching the games on TV. But my favorite story is when Matt Nelson talks about both of his parents going to Iowa State.
It's big. I mean, it's a fight for the state of Iowa. Iowa State's a big rivalry. My parents actually went to Iowa State, so it's kind of raised in an Iowa State household, but I've been converted since. I mean, you've always known Iowa State, now you're nothing but Iowa, so it's a lot of fun, though.
So I think maybe if you're not from Iowa, it may mean a little less, but to these Iowa guys, it's a pretty big weekend.
Yeah, no, it is. It's in-state, their communities buy in, and all eyes are on it. If you're not from Iowa, it's the next game, and it's a chance to go 2-0.
All right, well, it is finally time for everyone's favorite part of the show, prediction time.
And before we get right into that, let's do a quick recap of last week and remember who was right and who was wrong.
All right, so let's go to predictions now here. What do you think is going to happen on Saturday?
I see a Hawkeye win. I really do. I think Nate Stanley is going to be impressive. Excited to see how this defense comes together. Kinnick's going to be rocking again.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go that Iowa's not going to get the win. I hope I'm wrong, but I just think Josh Allen is too hard to stop. I watched him on film, and he's unreal. But I do not foresee a win in Iowa's future.
You heard it here first. Mary Kate's
I called it. I'm probably right because Zach is normally wrong.
Well, there you have it. 1-0, Mary Kate. 0-1 so far. Right now, I'm going to go again with Iowa, and hopefully going to be 2-0 then in my predictions.
All right. I mean, I learned my lesson. Don't bet against Iowa. But I had a good reason for it, so you know what? I mean,
wasn't even close.
I said I hope I'm wrong.
Wasn't even close.
I said I hope I'm wrong. Well, guess what? I'm picking Iowa this week. I do see a win in Iowa's future.
Now you're piggybacking on what
Oh, God, grow up.
Tune in on Monday for all your Hawkeye updates from the weekend.
And tune in every Friday with me and Zach for our Friday morning pregame show. Guys, back to you.
And that's all for today's Daily Iowan edition of Daily Iowan TV. Excuse me. Thanks for tuning in. Have a good day.